is GTV Breakfast. My name is Kafui Day, and if you are a 10 or 12-year-old and you woke up and you saw a map of Africa on your bed, don't worry, Uncle Kafui understands. I also used to wet my bed till I was like 12, and it was a scary thing when you're in boarding school and you wake up and then you wet your bed. You don't know what to do. So I sympathize 100% with you, okay? We're not talking about bedwetting today. We're talking about hearing loss. And this morning, I'm reading some really scary facts. So over 50% of the world's population requires rehabilitation to address their disabling hearing loss. And it's estimated that by 2050, over 700 million people, or 1 in every 10 people, have disabling hearing loss. Nearly 80% of people with disabling hearing loss live in low and middle income countries like Ghana. And the prevalence of hearing loss increases with age. So the older you get, the more likely you are to lose your hearing. It can affect one ear or both ears, lead to difficulty in hearing, conversational speech, or loud sounds. In the studio this morning, we have Deputy Chief Audiologist at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital Hearing Assessment Center to help us look at hearing loss, Jemima Anowa Fynn. Jemima, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
All right. So how important is this fifth sense of ours, one of our 5 senses, and how do we care for our ears, really?
Yes, so we know that our sense of hearing allows us to communicate with people, foster relationships, be aware of our environment, and then also be sensitive to danger. So if we are not careful and we don't handle our hearing sense well, we might not be able to enjoy these life events. So we have various causes of hearing loss, and most of the time we deal with the ear in 3 parts. So we have the outer ear, the middle ear, and the inner ear. And hearing loss can affect, there are things that can affect each part of this ear which might cause hearing loss. Hearing loss affects all ages, from the newborn to the oldest person. And so it's not a thing of a certain age sect that but across the age range, we have hearing loss affecting people. So the causes of the hearing loss that the person has will determine what management that we have. We have simple causes, just like impacted wax. Wax is a normal production of the ear, but sometimes some people tend to have it more, and so they will need to have it cleared out. If not, it can cause a certain level of hearing loss.
Really?
Yes.
The wax can grow that much?
Yes. Yes, we have impacted wax. Some have to oil them for about 2 weeks before we can clear them out.
Wow.
Yes, so that can cause some level of hearing loss.
How voluminous can this wax be? I mean, what's the most amount of wax you've seen coming out of somebody's ears?
Some are quite strange.
Like
you can
fist?
Oh no, a face that like the little finger. Yes, it can just pop out like that.
Whoa!
Yes, I did some syringing some years back, and I just, wow, this is strange.
Wow.
Yeah, like, so some people have never washed their ears before, so maybe once in their lifetime they just come in, and then you have some too, for the whole lifetime they never have wax in the ear. Yes, but it's a natural production of the ear which helps us to fight infections and also traps germs and insects and all that from getting to the deeper part of the ear. And we know that with our setting, we tend to put a lot of things in our ear. Somebody will just pick a feather from the ground or from the chicken and just put it in the ear.
Vertically.
Or a matchstick and cotton bud. Yeah, it's difficult to do away with those things, but sometimes we have to do it with caution, because in actual fact, if you tend to try and remove the wax, you are rather pushing it back. So we advise, if there's any discomfort, you rather go to the hospital. We have a look into the ear before we can say you need to wash. Sometimes you come and there's not even anything to wash. Yes, it's just that the ear is a bit itchy because it's a bit dry and all that. So that one is the simple management. Then we have the infections, which can affect the middle ear, fluid in the ear. Somebody who tends to have a lot of cold, yes, might have fluid buildup in the middle ear, especially with our children. And so that one needs medical management, and so they have to come to the hospital and be treated over some period. And
is the middle ear visible to the eye?
No. Yes. So if my charts can be
Okay.
yes.
So this is your chart?
Yes, this is my
I hope
chart.
it's on the screen. Well, so
yes.
So
we have the outer ear, which stands the pinna that we see to the eardrum. That's the outer ear. So the purple part that you see, that's where the wax collection occurs. Yes, so that blocks to the outer. There's nothing going into the middle ear because the eardrum is sealed.
Okay.
But if we don't take care of our ears and we play with them, you can injure the eardrum.
Is that the eardrum?
Yes.
The red guy?
Yes.
Okay.
And there can be access to the middle ear. Once the eardrum is perforated, then you tend to be exposed to a lot of infections. Yeah, so that's the middle ear is the green part, and it holds the tiny bones, the tiniest bones in the body. So they are called the ossicles. There are 3 bones there. They can also have some effects on them. Yes. If there can be trauma, you hit somebody's head, you can injure the ear.
Okay.
Yes, the eardrum can be perforated. The ossicles can be affected if you have head accidents, especially those motorbikes, riders and things like that. They have a lot of head injury. They tend to injure the...
It can affect their hearing?
Yes.
Wow.
And then we have the middle ear, the snail-like structure.
This guy?
Yes, that goes into the inner ear, sorry. So that is the cochlea and then the vestibule, which are responsible for balancing and then hearing.
Okay.
Yes, so sometimes you come and you are talking about balance and they say go and do hearing assessment. It's because it's the same structure that is supporting it. So we have infections that can also affect the inner ear, which may be viral. There could be blood disorders that can also affect the inner ear and give you permanent hearing loss. Noise can affect the inner ear because there are tiny hair structures that work to transmit sound. And so once you are exposed to noise over a long time, these hair cells will die, get damaged, and they cannot be replaced again.
So our DJs and the people who like loud music.
We have to be careful of the level of noise that we are exposed to. Yeah, so all these areas have different causes of hearing loss. Some can be managed, some also become more permanent. And so the way to handle them is either to amplify the person's hearing, to give them a bit more sound in their ear so that they can hear. That's when we use hearing aids. And then also some, if we don't benefit from the hearing aids, we have what we call cochlear implants. So these are some of the causes of hearing loss and then how we manage them.
When you put your finger or your into your ear, how far does it go? It goes as far as the drum?
When you get to the inner third, the third part, it's quite sensitive. So you feel
the tingling?
Yes. And
sweetness.
Then
where's the sweetness coming from?
Oh, it's because there's still skin there.
Okay.
So it's like you are rubbing your skin. So that's why you feel that sweetness. Yes. But when you get to that inner third, it's a bit more painful.
Okay.
Yes. So you tend to shrug, and then some people will cough because that place is quite sensitive. Yeah.
Okay. You're just watching GTV Breakfast. My guest is Jemima Fynn, and we're looking at the ear. I'm going to send it back to you.
Yeah, okay.
And you can send your questions to us on 055-556-1034. When does it get to a point where hearing loss is total?
In actual fact, you hardly get total hearing loss. Yes, but when we are doing our measurements, audiometric measurements, we have a range. The softest sound to the loudest sounds, and that's about 0 to 120 decibels.
Okay. How loud is 120 decibels?
120 is like aircraft taking up. So that's how faint that person hears it. Yeah, so it's more vibratory at that level than sound.
So you won't hear the engine, you won't hear the plane taking, but you just feel vibrations? Or what?
Something like that. That's the person who measures 120. It's more of vibratory for that person, and it's very faint because when we are measuring hearing, we are measuring the sensitivity, not how loud you are hearing. So if somebody responds at 120, then it means that that person, the sound has to be so loud before he hears it so faint.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That means that your hearing is really, really impaired.
Yes, yes.
And can it be rectified at that stage?
It depends. We have various tests that we do. That's why I'm saying that based on the level, we have mild hearing loss, moderate hearing loss, severe, and then profound. Between mild and moderate, people do well with hearing aids. So you can give the hearing aids and then the person would fade back and be able to communicate well. But if it gets to more severe hearing loss and profound, then the hearing aids are also limited as to what they can do for you. And so the final step that we can do is give you a cochlear implant. And currently in Ghana, we've done about 2 sessions of implantation, but it's very expensive.
Whose cochlear is it?
It's technically made.
Okay, so it's not a like a transplant.
No, not transplant. It's an implant.
Okay,
yeah,
right.
so it's made. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
These days, you see a lot of people walking around with these white headphones, their ears, and tell us about that.
Yeah. So for the normal human being, your ears can tolerate sound of about 80 decibels.
How loud is that?
How loud is 80 decibels? Is about if I'm shouting a bit more than I'll be talking now. Around this, as I'm talking now, is about 60 decibels.
60. So if I say, hey!
Yes, it
That's
could be 80.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
So over an 8-hour period, you are okay to be exposed to that level of noise. But above 80, 85 decibels, you need to wear hearing protection. So using earpiece, personal audio devices is more about how loud you use it and then the duration. So if somebody is wearing earpiece and I can hear the sound but sitting by the person, then it's too loud for that ear.
Too loud.
Yes, and you can't use it over an hour or two, just about 15 minutes. If you are using about 100 decibel of sound, just about 15 minutes, because as the decibels increase, the duration intensity should reduce. Yes.
Block factory operators.
Yeah.
You know, you hear that noise.
Yes.
I mean, how in decibels?
Cornmeal.
How loud is that? Decibels, in terms of decibels?
That could be over 100.
That's dangerous.
So, yes, 120 and all that. Yes, because we have something like firecrackers.
Yes.
Those knockouts that we about 160, and those can cause immediate damage to the ear structures.
Immediate.
Yes.
Power like that, and that's
yes,
it.
Yes.
Wow.
You could. Yeah. So a lot of these industrial, we are having a lot of them. Mine workers, corn mill, block factory workers. And once you are exposed over time, you tend to have hearing loss. And because you don't notice it, because we have the hearing loss is intensity, hearing is over a range of intensity from low pitch to high pitch. And most of the time, the high pitch sounds are affected first. So if most of our speech sounds occur in the low pitch area, so you don't notice that you have a hearing loss. So you need to enjoy a good concert and you see that you are not hearing the music well. Or because most of the time our speech is in the low pitch, so you tend to still hear people talking. Just maybe repeat yourself, or you miss some sentence for some word for another word. But if you critically listen, you see that you don't enjoy the clarity of speech. Yes.
How about these screaming passes for a long period of time?
Yes.
I mean, what's going on there? How loud is that? And
yes,
is it
so
dangerous?
that could be over 100 as well. Yes, over 100 as well. And so now we have a lot of people making noise. Go to circle and it's so loud everywhere. The person sitting down selling is exposed to noise. And you see that with time, they would see that they are not having that clarity that they need to get to understand speech when people talk. So there are a lot of things that we are doing that's affecting our hearing, but it's like an invisible disability. And so people don't really notice it. They just say, well, people are not talking loud enough, or
increase the volume, I can't hear you.
Yes, that's the reaction that people have. But in actual fact, we're having people, young people coming in more with hearing losses as well.
Parents knocking their children on their head. It can cause hearing
yes,
loss, right?
Yes. Just like I said, trauma to the head. So the ear is delicate, just like any part, the eye or any part like that. So any hit on the head, you can perforate the eardrum.
Wow.
Yes.
Slaps.
Yes, I've had a patient who's coming before, and he said, oh, one day I think he just went off track and he came home and his wife slapped him and something fell into his hand. He didn't know what it was, some shiny thing. So it was later when he went, he could feel that his ear was giving him problems. He went and there's no eardrum.
The drum fell out of his.
Yes. So it's that serious. So knocking, slapping people, and things like that, we advise against it.
The eardrum popped out of this man's
Yes.
head.
And he didn't notice, and he threw
the eardrum away.
So for life, he had to be using hearing aids. Fortunately, he wasn't discharging so much, because once the eardrum is out, then you can allow fluid. Once infection sets in, fluid will be discharged.
So did he become deaf in that ear?
There was reduced hearing because the middle ear has a certain range of hearing that it supports with. So there was hearing, but at a reduced level. So he had to use hearing aids.
Is he still together with the wife?
No, he's passed on.
Okay,
yeah,
but he continued staying with her after she slapped
Yes,
like that.
he was.
What a love! Wow. I can't even believe it. I mean, they can slap you so hard that your eardrum will fall out.
Yes. And we've had issues come like that. The least that can happen is perforation. There'll be a slit of the eardrums, assault, police assault, and these things. They come in, and then you see that there's trauma in the eardrum.
The woman must have been very angry to have slapped like that. Oh wow! And so I'm just thinking. So radio presenters who are always wearing headphones. What's your advice to them?
Yes, so just like I said, it's about the intensity, the loudness level at which you play your music. So if you keep it at a low volume, because it's a personal device, you should be able to lower the volume as much as possible. 50 decibels, you can use it for as long as you want. But if you go higher, people want to hear all the tutors in the
bass,
song.
the kick, everything.
Yes, so that is when it's too much for your ear. And so wearing it over 15 minutes, over 30 minutes, you are putting damage. You weary the hair cells. And so with time, they tend to go down. There's temporary shifts. You go to a sports stadium, by the time you come out, you say, oh, it's like I can't hear.
Yeah.
There's a temporary hearing loss.
It is really loud in the stadium.
Yes, but once you leave that place, there's some recovery. But once you consistently expose yourself to that level of noise, then you are heading for some noise-induced challenges.
It will be interesting to survey sports fans, football fans over a period of time to see what level of hearing loss. Maybe the fans coming to the stadium with headphones. You know,
well,
and these vuvuzelas that make so much noise.
You see, yes, all those things. We have what we call the noise thermometer. So when you go online, you just search for it, and it gives you the things that are in our environment and the level of noise. Even in the blenders that we use at home. Just recently, I was doing so I had to blend things over a period. I'm standing behind this blender really and so much, so I had to roll tissue and stick them in the ears. Yes, before I was able to, because at the end of the day, by the time you leave the place, it's you feel disturbed.
What do you sound that sometimes you hear in your ears after you've exposed to a loud noise?
Yes.
What's going on there?
That's tinnitus. It's just a reaction of the ear system and the brain to noise or anything affecting the ear.
Alrighty.
Sometimes they go and they come and they go on their own, but sometimes they come to stay with you.
Some people live with it for a long time.
Yes.
So
and
you're
it's a
problem. A sound for years?
Yes. It's a problem to a lot of people.
Wow.
Because it's devastating, so they have to go through counseling, and there's no treatment for that. Yes. So it's more of counseling and then helping the person to go through that. The tinnitus on its own is not life-threatening, but you need to know what is happening to you. Once you know that, then you'll be able to.
So it's just like a.
Yes, some is like drumming. There are various types.
Wow. Some
will tell you there's like crickets in the ears. Some is like whistling, drumming, and all that. So the person lies down to sleep and you hear boom, boom, boom. It's just like that over the period.
Unless you fall asleep. Spiritual things. Do they think it's spirits in their heads?
Well, everyone, when you interview them, it depends on what they think. That's why you need to counsel them and then tell them what it really
so it's
is.
Tinnitus.
Yes, tinnitus.
Okay. What's the safest way to clean your ears?
Yes, so just like one of my audiologists will say that if you want to put anything in your ear, you should be able to put your elbow. If your elbow can fit into your ear, then you can put it in. So it means that it doesn't want you to put anything in your ear.
If you can put your elbow in your ear, then
yes.
So we shouldn't put anything in our ears.
Yes, that's what we advise. So if you feel any discomfort, sometimes it could be that the ear is so dry. So we advise maybe just put maybe a drop of olive oil into it. Or if there's itching and all that, sometimes it could be due to allergy. And so you go to the hospital for full treatment. But if it's also just a little bit of itching, you can just rub the front of the ear like that. Yes, just a bit of rub in the ear. And then, but if it persists and you feel that the ear is a bit blocked, then you need to go and then have it looked into, and then it will be washed.
You said an otologist. What's an otologist?
Otologist is one who takes care of the ear.
But you're an audiologist.
Audiologist.
What's the difference?
Audio, we deal with sound. So we work together with the otologist, the ENT in actual fact. But we are more concerned with hearing loss, assessment, diagnosis, prevention, and then management. So for instance, if you have a hearing loss, I do the assessment for you and we know the levels. Yes, so if it's something that you need treatment, if there's infection or any middle ear problem, we refer you to the ENT specialist.
Who's the otologist?
Yes. Yes, but if you need hearing aids, I'll take care of you.
So you assess?
Yes, we assess and then manage with hearing aids and other methods.
All right. There are a lot of people here who like using chicken feathers inside their ears. What can you tell them? Yes,
just like I said, the chicken is walking around the ground and will go into burrow into the ground and all that. So the ground too is full of germs. So when you take it, you just clean it. Some people just use their
introducing germs into their mouth. Oh, my people.
And then put it into their ear. Just like you're saying that.
I think it's sweet, like.
It's sweet, but even sometimes we ourselves we are tempted to put things in your ear. Yes, but we advise that as much as possible, don't put things in your ear.
Parents pulling their children's ears.
Yes, it's also not.
It's not good.
Yes,
it can cause damage.
Yes, it's just like anything because the ear is sensitive, and people have different structures. Some people have lighter body structures than others, so you don't know when you can cause a damage to somebody's ear. We have people also immediately they have ear problems. They just go to the pharmacy and get some ear drops. We've had people come in and they've lost their ear hearing because of that. Because you have to diagnose. The ENT doctor will have to look inside, look at what it is before he can give you the drop. But if you don't, then anything that you get and put in the ear might be contrary to what needs to be done, and you can lose your hearing.
Drinking very cold water, how does it affect your hearing?
The middle ear is connected to the nose, behind the nose. So we have what we call the eustachian tube that opens into the middle ear.
Is it here?
Yes. So the eustachian tube is this from the green.
From the green going down.
Yeah. So it opens into the middle ear. So once the water is going into your mouth and you feel that coldness, it tends to affect the eustachian tube, maybe the temperature there, and then you might feel that pinch in your ear. Yes.
Okay. I'll keep this here. All right. And how about? So you've talked about cold. You called it cold. Yeah. So you go swimming and then you have this feeling that some of the water has stayed in your ear. How do you get that water out?
With time it comes out, but you need to be patient. Yes. Because once, just like washing your ear, when you wash your ear, the water, some of it come out, but some also stay. And so with time, the water will just trickle out, and you feel it there.
Warm. Coming out. Sometimes it feels
warm or sometimes cold. Yes. Yeah. So it just you give yourself time. But if the water doesn't come out, then probably you have wax in your ear, and the water has gone to soften the wax, and so you feel that blockage in the ear.
Talk to us about hearing loss and imbalance. Sometimes you see that people they don't walk steadily. Does the hearing have anything to do with how steadily you walk?
Yes, that was what I was saying, that the cochlea, the pink parts, the parts that you see that they are raised like some, the arch, like the arch. The down part is the snail, which controls, takes care of hearing mechanism. But the top part is for balancing. That's what we call the semicircular canals. So it's just like when you eat the fish, head,
Yes.
there's some what we call otolith, the stones in the fish. We have some in that part, the vestibule, and so they help you to balance, to be aware of where you are turning towards position.
Really?
It helps you to be in a good position. So if there's sometimes some of the stones can get locked up in the passageway, and so it gives you a false sense of balance. Yes, and so with that you tend to have those imbalances and then dizziness. There's also fluid going through the whole snail-like thing. It's called the endolymph. Yes, that fluid, sometimes some people may have overflow of the fluid.
Really?
Yes, and so it gives them a false sense of balance. Yes, so that's why I was saying that if sometimes you come and complain of balance issues, you are referred for hearing assessment, just to be sure that the hearing is okay, so that it will help the doctor make a diagnosis of what is happening to you.
So it's not that the person is drunk and it's not working steadily.
No.
It could be an ear issue. Just before we let you go, warning signs of hearing loss.
Yeah.
When should you be concerned that, hey, Charlie, my hearing is not 100%?
Yes. In actual fact, with children, we have what we call delayed speech. Yes. Sometimes the child does not hear. Hearing or language is picked up the first 2 years of life, from zero, meaning the child is born, to about 2 years. The child has formed all his language to be able to produce. That's why maybe after 1 year, 1.5 years, you see the child starts producing. But if he has not heard anything within that period, there's nothing to produce. Yes, so if a child is delayed at 2 years, he's not talking, you need to send the child for assessment. Yes, some too, they start talking, but with time, there could be something in the family, and then they start losing their hearing. Infections in the middle ear, most of the time, make children prone to reduced hearing. Then with adults, we are in the family, we are all watching TV, and then you alone want to turn the volume on, you control the remote. Then you want to turn the volume to everyone's displeasure. Could be that you have a hearing loss. Yes. You are talking with someone, as I'm talking to you now, and you want to say again, say again, what did you say? Or I give you a conversation and then you give me a wrong answer. Yes, some of these things could be. Or I whisper into your ear, you don't hear. Yes, some of these things are all tell that you could be having some hearing loss. And then most of the time, it's people who notice it and tell you that I think you are not hearing well. But to you yourself, you think, well, people are not talking loud enough. That is it. All
right. So you get that feedback, and then they come and see a specialist like you, an audiologist.
Yes, audiologist. You can assess. Yes, or specialist.
Okay. Somebody who just tuned in right now, what key takeaway can you give them as we are ending this conversation? What should they remember from this conversation we've had?
Yes. So just like I said, hearing affects all ages. Yes. So no matter who you are, you might be prone. There could be instances, blood disorders, that could bring about hearing loss. So if you notice anything, you need to have a check. If people are complaining, you need to have a check. And we need to have good ear health. Putting things in our ear, we say we should do that. Going to the pharmacy to just purchase drugs to put in the ear. Sometimes some at home, adringo, then they put in the ear. In those palm kernel oil. They put it in the ear, and all sorts of herbal things that people drop in their ears. Yes, because the ear, I've said again and again, the eardrum and the structures are sensitive. So we want us to protect our hearing as much as possible. The challenge that we are having now, the WHO is also complaining, is noise exposure. Then we have recreational noise, occupational noise, and environmental noise. So important recreational noise, your own, you should be able to know how much exposure you can give yourself when you're wearing your personal devices. Go to entertainment center. If it's too loud, use earplugs. Yes. Occupational noise, we want the industrial organizers to give their patients safety ear plugs.
Block factories, cement, all those
cement machine operators. Yes. Yes, earplugs, and then the muffs. Some of them, the noise is too loud, so you have to use 2 devices to reduce the noise. The workers themselves, sometimes they don't want to wear it because they cannot talk to each other. But when you are working, focus on your work and do it. Where this thing, because when you lose your hearing, is for life, no matter the compensation that you get. Yes, so we are advising that occupational noise, recreational noise, and then environmental noise. Too much noise in the community. People are having programs and they open the music so loud, disturbing their
sports,
neighbors.
The churches, the mosques.
Yes, all of them. At least we reduce the noise in the environment. It's very important. Yes. So there are things that we can do. Take our own ear health into our hands. Prevent hearing loss by yourself, and it will be good for us. And then good nutrition. We have things like iron, vitamin A, zinc that promotes and help the ear system. So we should eat well.
Okay. Thank you very much. Before I let you go, what's the strangest thing you've retrieved from inside somebody's ear? What are people putting inside their ears? The strangest thing.
Especially the children. All sorts of things. Some have maize, beans, chalk, eraser, and surprising, those seeds, they can grow because of the moistness of the area. They can start growing.
People are growing stuff in their ears. What plant? What were they growing in their ear? The wax became the soil.
Something like that because of the moisty nature.
No way.
Yes.
So what were they growing? Rice?
The maize and the beans, especially those.
Beans were growing inside the person's ear.
Yeah. And then we have beets. These beads that children, we put a lot. Some, they are just plain, and then one will stick some into your ear. Yeah. And then those are some of the things that...
So you saw a plant?
Yeah, it started germinating.
It started germinating inside the person's ear?
Yes. It started.
Parents.
And sometimes, if you are not able to syringe it out, it could turn into going to theater.
Wow.
Yeah, so we need to take care of our children and what they handle.
I know about that story, Jack and the Beanstalk, but I didn't expect to have the beans growing inside the ear of a child. But Jemima, thank you so much. Jemima Anowa Fynn is Deputy Chief Audiologist at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital at the Hearing Assessment Center, and you are up to date with how you should care for your ears. All right. And if you want to watch this segment again, it's at 11:30 tonight on GTV. Of course, it's on Facebook as well, so just go to GTV Ghana and Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, and you'll see the stream. As soon as I hand over to Maltiti, the stream will be out there. We've got conversations coming up on legal education in the USA, and a bit more also with my guests, also on headlines with Dr. Osai and lawyer Yao Anachi Frimpong. Here comes the Liverpool chick who is going to bring you all the sports news. Here comes Maltiti Saida. You're watching Breakfast. I'm still thinking about the beans in the child's ears. You stay with us, don't go anywhere.